Hello and welcome back. I'm bballjo and this is Work Isn't Resources Soviet Republic. In this episode, I'm going to try to fix this republic that was submitted by King Arthur 1991. We're in the winter because there's one thing clear: every penny counts. Now, when I turn this on and you see that we have 1.2 million in the bank, you would think, that's not bad. Well, I mean, this could be fine. We're in 1972. We have 19,000 people. Yeah, that's nice. That's a pretty good sized republic at this point. 24% unemployed, that's not great, but that's something that we can probably work with. And all the stats look fine, and we are making money. If you look at our economy for last year, we were 2.7 million in the plus. So it doesn't sound bad. However, we have 33 million owed in ruble, and every month we have to pay over $1 million to just pay that down. And that is crippling this republic, and I believe we can fix this. Let me start off by saying this is my third attempt at fixing this. The first two have failed for the reasons following. First, the very first attempt was just like, being arrogant, honestly. Pretty simple. I was being arrogant. I was just like, we can fix this. Just turn up the production a little bit and make it work. Take as much money as you need and then it will just sort itself out. Nope, not a thing, because this number is so large and every day we owe this much money, 34,000, which is not as little as it sounds. So yeah, that didn't work out. The second time I tried a little longer, tried a little more focused, tried to be a little more focused on how much money I'm taking out in loans and also optimize things. But in the end, that wasn't enough either. We need to be scientific about it, very scientific. And by scientific, I mean, look at the amount owed tomorrow and figure out how we can get to that production level of what we have without going overboard. There's one thing I will say: if you look at if you look at the pricing and just look at the biggest number for selling anything, you will see nuclear fuel. Okay, I do think that if we turn nuclear production or a full nuclear production chain on, which currently we don't have in this game, if we turn that on, it may be a little easier, but it would take a load of money and a load of workers and a load of infrastructure to get to that point. So I wouldn't be surprised if that's another 10, 15 million that we have to spend before we can even get something going. And I don't think that is the approach I want to take here. At some point in this game, if you throw enough money at it and you use it effectively, you can totally make this work. But I would like to make this republic work the way it is right now, because this republic reminds me of myself when I started, which is just build everything, kind of expand a little bit, get a little overzealous, expand a little too far, too fast, and then run into issues. And I think a lot of my viewers will have that same problem. So that's what I want to do today. I think this may be a two-parter, maybe even a three-parter, where we have to do a lot of things all at the same time to make sure everything is working. Don't get distracted by these icons. If I just let it run for a second, they sort themselves out. It's just when the game loads, it doesn't remember that it had power already produced. So that's the first thing that I'm going to turn off. The next thing I would like to look at with you guys is use this overlay whenever you can and look at your workers was unemployed yesterday. I do understand it may be a little hard to see on the white background right now with the winter, but honestly, we need this much money. Otherwise, by the time winter is over, we are near 600,000 ruble, and that will make everything a little harder, so we have to play at this point right now. Over here, unemployment looks honestly fine. Once we go into this little suburb over here, it's a little worse. The highest is 22 and a bunch of people around 10. It's not the worst thing in the world. Here we have 50, 60, 60, 60, 60, 28, 40, 45. So that's a large amount. That's not great. Over here, similar picture with 40s and 20s everywhere. So there's a lot of unemployment happening here that we have to take care of. And that is something we have to account for. We do have a lot of unemployed people, almost 3,000. So that's a lot of production that we can turn on when we have to. We just have to use it effectively, because I'm not planning on adding any more workers to this republic, and I'm hoping to not lose any workers. Same picture here, but I will tell you this has a different reason, which is this train over here. The signals are not well thought out, or at least the junctions are not well thought out. I'm going to try to explain this. Mostly the problem is the blocks that exist cannot contain a full train. That causes most trouble. And also some signals are not correct. For example, there's a chain signal here followed by another chain signal here. So there's a block in between, but nobody can get in the block because this chain signal does not care who's in the block. That's the first thing. Also, this block period is too small, and you have a block junction, short block junction, relatively short block, but not as short, and another junction. So that is causing trouble, and that's what you see in here. So everything is stopped. So we're going to fix that right away by turning this whole shebang into one junction instead of a bunch of junctions that are just followed by each other really, really closely right after. That's the first thing. This one can turn it on again because this train is actually very important. It goes to one of the big money makers, which is our steel mill. As you can see, we don't have workers here right now. We also can't export steel. That's another problem that I'm going to address in a second. But here we go. These guys will figure out what they're going to do. Eventually, they're starting to roll right now, so that's fine. But I really don't want to run this game before I address a lot of things. So, signals. First thing, pretty basic, pretty simple. And that is not bad. Maybe I should mention what map we're on. Pretty sure this is a randomly generated map. Just looking at the resource distribution and other things makes me think it's fine. And if it's not, I don't think the map makes a huge difference in this case. I just want to fix this. Maybe if you're on Discord, maybe I'll make this save available for everyone to give a try yourself if you want. Maybe put some in the comments or let me know if you want to have the save, and I can make that work, because this one actually so far has been so much fun for me, and maybe you find a better way than what I'm doing. Cool. Signals. We still have signals problems. Over here, there is this thing. This thing is just one big purple junction mess. Don't. Just turn it into one junction. Just accept what it is, and only one train will be able to get in here at a time, but at least you don't have signals that are possibly blocking that function at this point. Same thing over here. No, you don't want orange and purple together. Just accept the orange, and orange is the junction color that you want to see. Now we have a long string here that will just cause issues at some point. So single track is effectively part of a junction, and all the junctions should also be signaled up this way. Cool. That's fixed. We're just looking at signals right now. That's the easiest fix at the beginning. The next thing here, it's just a mess again, because we have a short junction, another junction, then a really short block, then a kind of okay junction over here, a tiny block over there, which will cause problems eventually, and just fix this, just bite the bullet. I'm not going to replan this whole thing because I think it's functionally okay. It's just not ideal. So I'm just going to fix everything that I can fix, bite the bullet, make this a really long junction, and that should be fine. This doesn't have a lot in it. So, and it really only has a fuel station right here. So I'm just allowing this to have a really short block on that side. I think that's fine. And life will move on. Actually, if you want to get really fancy, you can just, if we have room. Nope, there's no node in between here. Otherwise, I would have moved the signals behind the fuel station. But honestly, it's fine. It will work. That's that one, and I think all the other signals are actually fine. There's nothing severely wrong, just looking from top-down view a little bit. We have a lot of blue, a lot of orange, that is good. Longish blues, and no other purples, well, besides down here. Honestly, yeah, I will fix that. Because this one is also one of those dangerous junctions that could cause a lot of trouble down the road. Remove all those guys, and this signal is currently not in the right place because you can still you could still block this junction if you come back, and that is not good either. It's very unlikely, don't get me wrong, but it's still possible, so we don't want that. So we set all of this up, and now our signals are pretty okay. It's not the greatest, not the worst, and honestly the track laying so far from what I can see is pretty alright. What's going on here? This is scary. Someone is going in here. That is fine. It's only one-way track. This is supposed to turn around. We don't want a signal within the block or within the junction. So let's turn that off. That was a little weird, but yeah, this is a pretty simple test. If you see purple, something is wrong. I'm okay with this one being orange because it's a terminal. We will only allow one train in here, so this second track doesn't make sense. But overall, that's not the end of the world. Here we have the same problem that there's a single track in between. We don't want that. So keep that one happy, and then I guess there's one signal here which I don't honestly know will ever make a difference, but let's just fix that. And this looks fine. What's going on here? You have a crossing and no, 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 no. I want this one removed and this one removed. Yep, just one junction right there. Bite the bullet. If you put your junctions too close to each other, it's just what you have to do. That looks good. We got all those figured out. Now the next problem that I ran into was over here. And I'm sorry that I'm rattling this down a little bit. There's just a lot that's going on, and I'm trying to remember all the things that I've done so far already or in the previous versions. I just want to fix them, and maybe we can get this all done in one episode. That's very possible, but I'm not sure. It's probably going to be a long episode in the end anyway. So you will probably be able to tell if this is a one-part or a two-parter just from the thumbnail or from the title or from something. So, yeah, there you go. But this is a problem. Number of shoppers in front of the shop, 683. Oh, not good, because you have a lot of people just working here, but if you look at the average productivity, it is not great. It's not great. It's in the 30s. Some have a little higher. And what is the problem with them? Let's click on any of them. Your productivity is this. Past day demands unsatisfied. Clothing, probably often. Food, only satisfied 58%. Clothes, nothing. And I'm sure there are other things that they're missing too. Let's look at this one. Clothes, electronics. Nothing was fully satisfied. So that over time will affect everything. And as you can see, loyalty is already low, super low. So they don't have a lot of tolerance. And then happiness is also low. So what we have to do is actually make sure that the happiness in this city grows so the sellers can actually serve everyone that wants to shop here. How do we do that? Allow everything to exist. You don't need a ton of everything, and you're currently bringing in some food, which is awesome. Keep doing that. But we need to make sure that everyone here is happy. And I'm doing it this way because the player already has auto imports set up in a bunch of different places, so don't feel bad with doing this. Also, figuring out all the correct supply lines with distribution offices for this republic at this point would potentially be a nightmare, and we only have one food production, which is right here, which is not able to produce all the food that we need in the republic, so I'm okay with turning on some auto buy for necessary places like this one for right now. So please don't hate me. It looks like we have there are a couple monuments here. So as long as you give them everything that they want, their government loyalty should not be super terrible. But I think a radio station would also be very, very helpful, which I'm pretty sure you don't have right now, but that's fine. Do you cover everything? Oh, you have only really small radius to cover. In that case, we're just going to auto-build that, and once that is done, it has a much bigger radius. That's really what I'm going for. Come on, come on, give me that loyalty. Just a little more, no more. There we go. Yeah, that's going to raise our loyalty to about 30%. Or yeah, is it the royalty? Yeah, it is 30%. Kind of weird number for loyalty, I think, but that should be fine. Cool. So this city's happiness should slowly go up. Let's just look at what we have right now in the 30s, in the 40s, not great. If we look at the other cities, this one is 80s and 90s, that is fine. This one is 75, 80, 90, 80, 89. These are all happy enough. Like, I don't have to worry about them. Great. The next problem, you're importing food here. I mean, there's nothing wrong with that in theory, but you're importing a lot. So let's turn them to the lowest possible thingy. I know I didn't just do that on the other one, but this should be fine. And then you have stuff connected here, but this stuff is currently not getting anything, even though you have a lot of food waiting here to be moved. The problem is we don't have forklifts. Let's use the stuff that you're already producing and already bringing here, because that is a great way to save some money. Use your own food. This may have been an oversight or some other reason. I don't know why. Eventually I came across this and it was just, yeah, that's wrong. This guy has everything turned on and I understand why it's here. But if I keep seeing this, I may consider turning down the workers working here because there's no reason for them. I think this one can probably cover everyone. They can indeed cover everyone in the city. I don't think there's a reason for this one. Yeah, no. We'll just turn this one effectively off so we don't have to waste money on this guy. Wonderful. We are running slowly and these numbers should increase now. And as you can see, this was 2 days. We just spent 200,000 and all I did was buy one monument. Like, I didn't spend a lot of money yet. I don't want to say like that much. I really don't like saying like. But there you go. So, a couple minor things figured out, solved. Good, good, good. This is a big one. All distribution offices, when you play with them, they have a great purpose. They're really good at certain things. They're not good at being overloaded. So when you find yourself at 20 out of 20 tasks, so fully loaded distribution office, rail or road, does not matter, then all your sources and targets, whatever you have them set up as, should be really close to the rail distribution, to the distribution office, period. If they're far away, the distance they have to travel every time means that you cannot fulfill your task, that you cannot fulfill everything that you need to do. So this rail distribution office, if we look at all of these guys, has a lot and lot going on. And it's not a bad thing. The problem is that a lot of these, where is it? Oil, train, diesel station. A lot of these are just, this diesel station, where are you? You are all the way down here. We don't need this one. This diesel station is past this diesel station and it's on the same route. So take it off. We don't need it. We don't need anyone to go there. Also, whenever this diesel station would need something, you would only send essentially a train out with one wagon, and that's not a good use of a rail distribution office. So don't do that. And the fuel that's in there is going to last us for a very long time. Here's another one. Didn't I just remove that? I probably removed the wrong thing then. Oopsies. Don't remember what I removed, but I don't think it's that important right now because the other thing I need to remove is the steel mill, which looks like it's still assigned, but we'll get there. So, remove what we don't need. Train cargo station. What are you doing over here? You're trying to move meat. Meat is one of those low volume products that is better if you don't move it via trains. Trucks are actually better for meat in this case, unless you produce it in humongous amounts. But I get why you're doing this. I totally get why you're doing this. What do you have here? You have excavators. Forklifts. You have forklifts in there, so that should work. This one looks like it has a similar issue as before, but well, this one just may need. Oh no, this is the original one that I just went to. It's not a different place, so I'm just being confused. But yeah, you deliver meat here via train. That's not the end of the world, and it's a relatively long distance to get there from here, but it's not ideal. So keep that in mind. We have a warehouse. We have another distribution office. And you're delivering fuel here. Yeah, no. I can't agree with that. Don't do, just the whole fuel delivery thing takes so much time from your trains, and you usually just move one wagon at a time. Use trucks for that. We're gonna set up trucks, but you also have so many fuel stations already that we don't have to set up trucks for this. What is this guy doing? You're delivering something. Oh, this is the meat one, the food one that we just used. That's fine. This one is one that because food is a big one that we have to transport, I will allow that. Can we find any other problems? Gravel loading. Storage percent 0, but where do you take it? Here. Right, here's where you take it. To this station. Looks like you are full, and I'm pretty sure we're barely ever going to use you for anything. What do you do here? You bring it to the rail construction office, not doing it there, and then to the construction office on this side. Overall, this is two places that we can fix other ways if we have to. They're not really going to be used right now, but they are taking up spaces for actual distribution that we have to set up. So, continue. Here, the large customs house. Currently, we're only exporting steel. Nothing else is being exported, but we are loading crops. This is not a bad one to load. I'm totally on board with this one, but we can unload more things. For right now, gravel. Because gravel, it's going to be an extra path around, and I will probably, not just probably, I will add a way to turn around for the trains here, because this is just, this is not ideal. See, can I get you to agree to park here? Yes, I can. We will use auto build whenever we have to. So that one can go there. And then this one, if we just fix the signals, well, fixing is a strong word here. If we just update the signals, this should be fine. Also, this signal, for some reason, is in front of a junction instead of behind a junction, so that causes issues as well. Let's just add the signals that we need. Right there, that should be good. That signal is fine. This is one long junction again, so don't fall into that trap. Just don't allow it. And now the rail distribution office can also export the gravel, which we have a lot of. It's sitting right here. And this guy is currently not working. So use the stuff that you can export because it's free, effectively, at this point. Just use it. We can go through all the other things that we have access to and see if we need to export them, but I think for right now that's fine. Iron ore loading right here. I will tell you we don't have enough iron ore to load anything, so turn that off. Simply because the setup, which is one of the things that I have to fix later on, but for right now we just have to make sure that everything else is working just fine. Coal mining loading. I guess there's a storage here. I'm gonna allow this. I'm not sure where we're taking coal at this point, or refining. Let's see if I can find it. Because if I can't find it, we may turn it off for now. Oil, refine, coal, unload. Why do you need coal here? Oh, for the heating plant. Okay, yeah, no, that's good enough reason. Right there, that's fine. Train diesel station, found another one. This is the one right here that is in line with the other guy. But, again, this is not a good use for the rail distribution office. I will add another road distribution office for fuel specifically that should take care of all of this, but this is not the place. So get rid of that one. The other one right over here, you're pretty much on the same line as the other one. We don't need that. I'm not saying don't use rail distribution offices to deliver to your fuel stations, but make sure that the trains that you actually send out there are more than just one wagon big. If they're not, use a truck. Fuel loading and unloading. This is nice, but this currently is only needed for delivering to all those fuel places that we just had set up. I will leave this because at some point we may want to use this for a export route. Oil fuel loading, unloading. What are you doing? You bring it down here. Just load your helicopters. I think that is appropriate enough. Cargo train station, yes. Steel mill, yes. All of those. Cool. Now we reduced it from 20 to 12. That is much more manageable with 6 trains for sure. We could add 1 or 2 more trains here. I think I will. Get the cheap ones. No reason to go expensive because a lot of the track... Excuse me. A lot of the track that we have is actually wooden track. They're the slower ones anyways, so there's no reason to spend more money on the bigger trains that can go a little faster. So this one's fine. It can actually go 100, but it's the cheapest train that we have available. Cool. Babble, 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 babble. Wonderful. Now, to the more fun things in life. We need a road distribution office to take care of the few things that we just broke, because it's a problem. It's absolutely a problem, but it's not a problem the rail distribution office should take care for us. So let's find where we have the fuel. The fuel is out here. I don't love this, but this will free up trains for the bigger exercises that we have to do. There's infrastructure somewhere. I don't know where the infrastructure is. We do have a little highway over here, so I feel okay about this. It's not the best thing in the world, but it will do what we need it to do. Get that distribution office set up there right here. That looks fine. Build. Yes, please. Let's get this built really quick. Thank you. Everything is built, and now we just have to make sure that we have what we need here. So first we're going to try our oil tank. Good. I want the speedy ones. The volume is important, but the speedy one is also important. We need a good mix. 15 tons. This is nice, but it's a mod, so I'm not going to go there. 9 tons. 9 tons feels pretty appropriate, and you can go 80. Yeah, let's go with that. Fill you up. I don't care what we have going on here, but this is my fuel distribution center now. Get the fuel from there. Pretty sure that's what this pump is for. Gets fuel out of here. Cool. That pump gets what it needs. This diesel station is already taken care of by a direct pump. Bravo. Excellent. That's how you need to do that. Once the storage percent is above 0, try to fill something up. 0 is not great, but it will tell you that the connection with a conveyor or engine cannot handle this. So you have to set it to 0, otherwise this doesn't work. Just read the error messages when they pop up like that, because it's important. Looks like we're getting stuff here. So that is nice. So yeah, I will just add the things that we removed, which is this one, and the 2 fuel stations that we have down here, plus this one can also get one, which means this fuel station may be redundant. But I want to rather make sure that we have everything that we need. At least fill them up to 60% just because trains take a lot of fuel, and then this one should take care of the rest. I am pretty confident there's a fuel station somewhere. Somewhere? Is there a fuel station somewhere? I don't see one yet, but I do believe if they can't find one in range, they will just go to a rail fuel station, and that's the same thing. So that should be good. Now we've taken care of that. What we have here, medium distribution office, cistern tanks. That's nice. Technical services, that is nice. That one can honestly also deserve some direct fuel injection. I'll be fine with that. Cool. So that is taking care of the basics there. This should free up this guy to be more valuable in the export. Now I want to see what we have here. Open wagon, we only have 2, but that is 150 tons, which is exactly what we want to see here. The only problem I have currently is that we don't have enough trains running to export the stuff that we need. So what is the steel mill set as? Steel mill, 70%. Honestly, that is fine. I agree with that. And this one looks like he's going to load the steel. And that's what we want. Nice. At this point, it's been about 25 minutes or so. So I think we may even make this in one episode. But at this point, we will go into the science of things because that is what's important. How much money do we need? Well, we know that for certain. We need 34,000 a day. Is that all we need? No, because we have to look at the previous month's imports. It's about 95,000. Call it 100,000 just to make it simple. How many days are in a month? 30. Make it simple math. So 100 divided by 30 is about 3.5. Let's call it 4,000. Just make the math simple. Round it up to 5,000 because why not? So now we have 5,000 a day for imports of everything that's going on maybe on average. We can look at that a little more detail, but I think that's fine. Then we have 34,000, almost 35,000 on interest. So just to stay even, and not like to stay even, we would have to wait until all of this is paid off. We need $40,000 ruble in exports a day, okay? If we want to be able to expand a little bit and have a little bit of spending money, we need to increase that a little bit. So let's aim for close to 50,000 ruble a day of exports. How do we get that? Many ways. But what are the big machineries that we have at our disposal already that we can use? One is the steel mill. This is a big one because if this one can run at 100% all the time, life is pretty good. Which reminds me, I think there's some signaling over here still messed up. Yeah, that's better. Okay, yeah. Make this a longer junction. That's fine. You look like you are blocking someone. No, you're doing your thing and you're dropping off some workers. That's excellent. Cool. We have only moved forward 4 days. I'm sorry about the snow, but it's just what we need. So steel mill is the big one. There is not a lot of stuff going on here, but overall, the steel mill can produce 43 tons of steel per workday if we run it at 100% of everything, which we want. We can't do that, but what does that mean? Well, if we take our calculator out, and you can follow this with me, I don't think I'm going to write it on the screen, but steel export, where are you? Right here. You make $680 per ton that I sell to the border if I export it myself. Okay, that's not bad. I'm taking my calculator out here, boom, because I want to see what we do. So we know that we need about 50,000 rubles worth of exports a day. So we take 50K, divide that by this number, so 684. This number fluctuates, so it's not 100% accurate one way or the other, but it will tell me that I need 73 tons of steel produced a day. That is obviously a ridiculous number that we can't achieve, but what can we achieve? Well, let's take, we know that we have 43 tons at a maximum production. A reasonable level I think that we can get to is 35 tons a day. If we multiply that by the 684, we are at 23,000, which is more than 2/3 of what our, just our baseline number. 40,000 is the baseline number that we need to even stay afloat to have a chance, but then we're just not making any extra money. But it's more than halfway there. That's not bad. If we turn up our steel, The problem we have right now is that we can't produce enough iron out of this. We would need another iron mine, but maybe we just have to set up another iron supplier. But that's the first thing. So I guess half this number is more appropriate. So let's go there. So if we say 20 tons of steel a day times 684, we're at 13,000 out of 34,000. So that's a lot less. That is less than half of what we need to stay afloat. So where do we get the rest of the money from? Let's go look. The other big industry is right here. Oil refinery, which is currently already running pretty well, but there are problems with it. But first of all, let's just see what we can produce here. At maximum production, we can produce 125 tons of fuel and 75 tons of bitumen. So there's not a lot of waste for the oil that we bring in. So let's look at those prices, which are also up in here. Bitumen, 329. So I don't know how much oil we're producing, but I think it would be worth it to import oil for this one if we have to. So 75 tons of bitumen a day times 329 gives us 24,000. We're not going to produce that probably because we will be out of oil a little bit, but let's call this 20,000. If we add that to our steel, we are now at 33,000. So we are technically exporting exactly what we need to, or pretty much what we need for the loans. And we haven't touched the fuel yet, which, if you remember, we're using the fuel in a lot of places already currently on all the fuel stations. So we can't just assume that we use all of the fuel that's available. But out of the 125 produced a day, if we can use 90, multiply that by 205, which is the current price, export price, we're at 18,450. So where are we now? 23,000 for bitumen, 13,000 for steel, that's 43 or 33, plus another 18. We are now at above 50. So all we have to do is turn all of these productions that we already have into full running entities that are actually working and getting us exactly what we need. And that's work. That will take work because nothing is working yet. In addition, we have some industries that we're currently not tapping. For example, this guy, this power plant. We're not exporting it. Not exporting any power from this guy. Also, there's another power plant over here. We're not exporting it. You see this production? We're actually currently importing power, which is super duper scary. But I understand why people do that in the beginning. It's just safer and it feels nicer. And you can't really have an import and an export set up for power because then you're essentially just losing money by doing that without doing anything else. That's how you can get rid of all your money because importing is more expensive than exporting. And if you do both at the same time, at the same currency, you're going to run out of money, period. So that's where we are. Let's fix a couple things with that. And then we'll see where we go. First, I'm going to just waste these because I don't need any of these dumpers or any of these buses right now. But I do want another backup for the power plant that we had running over there. So it's giving me a couple microbuses. We don't need a lot. I just need a little bit of extra support. We had a lot of unemployed workers here and a lot of unemployed workers here. Who has currently more workers sitting there? 104 versus 75. I think I may just go with this one. Usually I went with this one before, but I don't want to right now. Something you may want to consider, if you turn on the transfer functionality, the bus will first unload people here and then load them right away, and it's probably going to be the same people that were just unloaded at the same time, but I think that's fine in our case. Send them down here to the power plant and just make sure that that's all working. Get these two rolling, turn your line spacing on once it's appropriate, and then it's good. This one currently already has another setup with 3 buses, and it's kind of working, but I just want to make sure that this is always working because the next thing we're going to do is go out here to the power export. Oh, this is only a 10. This is a small power line. I didn't realize that. That is quite a problem. Understand why it is small. It's cheaper to begin with. But this is going to make it harder to export anything. These are all just small power lines, so it's not even worth going and upgrading that. So let's just turn this off. This is probably just because at the beginning it was cheaper and there was no reason to go more than 10 megawatts of power to do anything with. Something that I should show you, before you do this, maybe check your wattage overlay and see what's going on here. This one's only producing 2.8 out of 24. That's the max it can produce. There's 2.5 going through this switch. And then there is about 4.8 is what we're importing, in addition to the 2.8 that we just saw from that power plant. And then we have another 1.7 being produced here. So overall, a lot of potential to have the power exported, which is a nice little extra money that we can make on the side that we already have all the infrastructure set up for. And I say all of the infrastructure because I didn't mean it. I know I said that wrong. But we have another power connection over there that we can just use. All we have to do is tap into it. So that's what I'm going to do right now. Come on, let me out. Let me have something. There you go. That looks good. I will add a high voltage switch right here, simply because if we ever need to use this power for something else, we need to be able to access it. So let's get that one there. This is a full load 18 megawatt power line. I think I need this guy for that, because there's a big lake over here that you have to get around. But having this power line also go to the border allows you to make a little extra money, which is exactly what we need. So let's maximize our potentials. Great, this guy can go here and there. I am not building for pretty, I am not building for cosmonaut mode, I am only simply building for saving this republic. So it's going to take a little bit of money, but I hope I don't have to take a ton of loans out, because that will just make our daily need or our daily must income a lot bigger than what we have right now. Turn this one to export to make sure it actually does it, and let's see what the difference is. Just at this plant. This plant. If we say build all the things. All right, that was a little crash, but we are back now. So I have this set up and it's actually exporting now, and this is a great view that your power plant is actually producing exactly what you need. Now you do have to make sure that you have enough coal coming in here, so let's make sure that we have that. Here's our coal plant, and it's currently not producing much, but it looks fine because we have enough coal ore stored here, so I'm not worried about that. But in this case, I highly recommend using priorities and actually setting them up well. I think we can see them a little better if we come closer and then go from here. That one is green highlighted. That's the one that goes to the power plant. And then this one also use priorities. Make sure that the power plant goes first, which is this one. And that goes straight into the power plant. So keep this one full at all times, because we are relying on our own homemade power. And that's just make sure that you have enough coal running in there. You could even, if you want to be paranoid, you could set this up to automatically buy coal when we need it. So if this ever goes low, we're not going to run out of coal. That may be a good backup. I don't like it, but in this case, I think just better to be safe than sorry. Great. So we have power production. We are not currently exporting this guy. Why not? Because we don't produce enough oil yet. And that's the last fix I'm going to do in this episode. In the next episode, we're going to optimize everything else that we have going on. So there are 2 oil production facilities. Not a lot of oil, but enough. So there's 5 tons here, there's 5 tons there, there's 2 tons here. So 8 tons come from here, but this guy is currently, it's not full. Actually, that's really nice. Where are you coming from? What are you? What distribution office are you? You're over here. Oh. At some point I broke something and I realized what I broke. So... No. Wait. I'm confused. Something is not quite right. This guy. This tells me this. You cannot go to a building with a conveyor engine connected, which is this engine right here. But then why does this guy do something? Where are you taking this oil? Where? You are taking it over here and you're actually functioning. That is quite interesting. I'm not sure what's going on there, but apparently it's working. Unsupported settings. This one doesn't have any vehicles in it, so we can just ignore it. But I'm assuming you are the train that I wanted. Yeah, when I played last time, this was not the case. It would not... It essentially wouldn't allow the thing that it's doing right now. But honestly, I would like to reassign this guy, but... maybe a little harder, because that's all this guy's doing right now, and it may be better to have that as a direct setup. So send you over here. I don't know if we can. Send back to workplace. Sure. And then here's our train. There we go. This is what I wanted. Set up the line. Well, all I want is them to go from here, load until full. Why am I doing this? Because it's a little more, hopefully a little more direct and a little better setup than having a rail distribution office do this, because it's also the only thing that they're doing. Go here. Definitely wait until unload it. Don't leave beforehand. And then from here, you can go all the way through down to this setup. How much do you have here? This one is full. Yeah, one of these has a problem, and I don't like having problems like this. Wait until full again for oil, and then just make your way back to our setup. And now we have a little tandem train that just essentially goes in a circle, picks up the oil from the two places that we have, and hopefully brings them to the correct places. There you go. Set that up and should be good. Where are you right now? You're still parked here. You are not full yet, so I think I would like you to go there. Can you turn around? And turn around, please. There you go. Just making sure that it works. Beautiful. So that's doing exactly what I needed to do. That's the oil. Well, I don't want to say fixed, but there's some oil coming in now. Now, this guy is still missing some oil. And the question is, will it be worth to just import oil? And that's what we can look at right now, I think. We have a little bit of time. Economy, current prices. Oil should be pretty low on the list. There we go. It costs 75 tons to import oil, and we gain, what do we have here? Essentially, we gain out of every 10 tons. Is that fair? No. 20 tons? Yes, out of every 250 tons of oil. Sorry, I thought this was 200. But out of 250 tons of oil, we can gain 75 and 125. I mean, you can see that. So, 75, 150, 225, so 3 times is about a third. About a third turns into bitumen. Okay, so 2 tons of oil, which is $75. 3 tons of oil turns into 1 ton of bitumen. And that is a ratio of 75. Oh, that's good. 75, 150, 225. So 225 turn into, where's my bitumen? Right there. Turn into 356 times 1. So that's not a huge gain. That is not a huge gain. It's less than 2. It's less than 2x that we turn it into. So that's not a great turnaround. But the same 3 tons of oil also turn into about 1.5 tons of fuel, which is then 2.26, call it 300, maybe 350. So overall, we make 360 plus another 300, so 600 for a 200 investment on oil, which is a 3x return, which is honestly not a bad thing. So I think for the time being, we want this to produce all the time. So it's just imported at the source, and whenever we don't have oil sitting here, we're just going to import it this way. But if there is oil here, actually, my bad. Why is it my bad? Because if this one imports it at the factory like it is right now, then it will never pull from the source because we don't have an engine connected, and that is bad. So turn this off. Instead, we're going to get fuel in here, and whenever this one is empty, we will buy something. But if a ship actually imports something and drops some oil off, then it will not try to do the same thing. So this should be good. Only one of these storages is actually doing the thing. It's also the storage that is responsible for the gas power plant, which is fine. I'm happy with that. We want this power to keep running. Now we do want more more power exported if we can, but it's a double-edged sword where we don't produce enough oil to actually make this worth it. But for right now, I would say we fixed all the underlying, not all, we fixed a lot of the underlying issues. We have some money in the bank. Next episode, we're going to start taking out a loan and make everything more efficient and working better because it's just not doing it just yet. So, hope to see you again then. This is the first two-parter of the Fix It series. I'm really excited for it because this is a great challenge and I really, 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 really enjoy challenges. So, thank you so much for watching. I hope to see you again next time. Hopefully soon. Bye.